Hello everyone, I'm Dragons After Dark, and yes, I'm kind of back. I'm still not sure if I'm sticking around, but due to a combination of life events, I'm here for now. So let's get right into it. Since I wasn't creating content at the end of Dragonflight, and we're now over a month into the War Within, I wanted to look at the good, meh, bad, and ugly of both expansions in terms of pet collecting and battling. I will be giving the devs kudos where deserved, but I'm not going to mince words on where I feel they've fallen short. That being said, let's go. I'm going to front load what I think was great in Dragonflight and what I've seen that I like in the War Within so far. We're getting past pets in the anniversary. This is kind of what I was asking for, where I pointed out the lack of consistency in which pets made it to the vendor each year and which ones didn't. We're getting some past pets like the Molten Corgi, and I think that's great. Asterisk. This is with the caveat that I hope all the pets are on the vendors each year following this one. I loved the secret pet acquisitions that were feasible for the average person to stumble across to the more difficult ones, like the Bugbiter Tortoise or Dusky Timbertooth for the simpler discoveries, to the Snowclaw Cub for a slightly more difficult one to puzzle out. Not everything needs to be Secret Finders level, like Ball. I also think that some of these secret pets being wild battles that need triggers are a great way to get people to interact with the battle system instead of having them cageable for the auction house. I liked the ideas of the Forbidden Reach battles, though having an NPC nearby as an optional explanation as part of the quest completion for what needs to be done would have been helpful. It gave us a glimpse that they're trying to branch out in their approach to battles, and I hope to see more of that moving forward. I actually liked the unique mats to get certain pets in Dragonflight, but what I like more is the unique currencies between the War Within factions to get pets, especially if we're not going to have charm dumps. I think the faction currencies make a lot more sense than the random unique mats. The quest pets in Dragonflight were actually a lot of fun, like the Living Mud Mask, Lord Basilton, Pilot, Shiverweb Broodling, and so on. I think they did a great job with them. They helped add wonderful flavor to the areas we visited, and we've seen a couple of those in the War Within, like the Fathomincher. Though the Thunder and Vanilla quests are cute, they don't add much the same way the Dragonflight quest pets did. I hope we see more impactful quest pets in the War Within moving forward. I greatly enjoyed the Roland acquisition with the Gift of Cheese and the creation of Solvrun, though we haven't seen anything like those two in the War Within yet. The Shiny Pet Charm to Polished Pet Charm change was great. Bonus points for the fact that they gave us a 1-to-1 exchange with the shiny charms we had instead of just graying them out to vendor. 10 out of 10 for this. Making promo and event pets like Nomelia Gearhart and Tobias accessible well beyond the events themselves, kind of like how you can still get Graves. Profession pets. I think Dragonflight did okay with them, with Roland being the best example, but I think there's a lot of potential for making really great profession pets in the War Within, which I'll go over in the suggested section in a little bit. The Whelp Daycare. I think it was great to try and bring an updated tutorial into getting started with pet battling, but I think the time/resources would have been better spent working on pet battle PvP. It really feels like people want to make their mark with content instead of fixing things that are broken. The battles for each expansion fall in this category. I've said it numerous times, but it seems like they found a formula in Dragonflight for 2 enemies per zone, with 1 enemy having 3 pets, 1 being a single enemy, and have reduced them even further into the War Within by just making the enemies use their abilities almost completely at random. At least for the 3 enemy teams. I will say the randomness does kinda make it more difficult to counter reliably, but the movesets of the enemies just make no sense. I personally enjoy solving the puzzles of both static and random enemy encounters, but the movesets either stack abilities that make one or more obsolete, like Flurry and Scratch, or just overwhelm the players with things like stuns and AoE. We're seeing a lot of unused pets that were clearly attached to content that were either scrapped or the pets were clearly not added to said content, like Micah moving into the War Within or Ground Shaker in Dragonflight, because I will go to my grave that the stranded Thunderspine calf in the Oniran Plains was meant to be connected to this pet. Or something, but the Ground Shaker was the only pet of this model that didn't get used. Events tied to patches that make it difficult to complete when not current, like holding the portal areas against enemies to get currency for the time-lost Vorquin. This is a general issue, not just for pets, though I will say it seems like they took some of the better aspects of community events from Dragonflight and moved that board into the theater performance event. There was no pet battle content for well over a year in Dragonflight by the time the War Within came out. There's not much more to say there, and I'm sure it was a contributing factor to my frustration with Arphis. By the time I made the Arphis video, we knew from the PTR there would be no pet battle content in 10.2, which made it very likely we'd see nothing in the smaller subsequent patches either. It felt really bad, and it still does. It basically felt like our community was tossed a few pets to collect and expected to be content with that. That's all I'm going to say on the subject, except that I hope it doesn't happen again in the War Within. So many reskins. I think people would be happier with fewer, more impactful pets as opposed to so many reskins. Do we really need 5 versions of a stone lamb? Or models that would have been really cool if unique, but are watered down by too many pets with the same model? I do enjoy having pet rewards attached to a collection of world quests, but if I'm being honest, I don't think a single world quest achievement pet hasn't had an issue in the War Within. The content pace is creating a lot of issues for pets and pet battles. We're seeing a lot of rookie mistakes, and the progress of somewhat listening to pet/pet battle feedback in the Dragonflight alpha and beta was nuked back to the Stone Age in the War Within alpha and beta. I think there's been 4 or 5 pets that have an aura put for an ability instead of the ability itself, which means the pet will do nothing when you select that ability. This has even happened with the $160 pet. Thankfully, we have Lazy, who has made a list of all of the things we've had issues with for pet battles and pets so far in the War Within. I'm not going to go over the entire list, it is pretty long, but I will link it down below for you to take a look at for yourself. But needless to say, we went into the War Within with a lot more issues than we did in Dragonflight. Promos like the Steel series and Gummy don't feel very nice. Spending $160 to get a pet, because I'll be honest, I'd have no other reason to get that mouse, and not having an alternate collection method for Gummy for people outside of the US does not feel good. These are meant to be celebrations of 20 years of WoW, but there's little to celebrate with promos like this when we can't enjoy them together as a community. Pets from limited time events not being cageable and not being made available later, like Belial, the pre-patch pets, and so on. I will say this until the old gods come home and probably beyond, but battle pets are part of a battle system. If you're not going to make these things cageable, then put them on the trading post and let people know they have the potential to come into rotation. You know what would have been a better pet to fit the Halloween theme for the trading post in October than the soot-stained shale wing? Belial. And no, the black market auction house doesn't count as a source in my book, since most of the auctions go to obscene amounts for pets you can no longer get in-game. We're still doing awful drop rates on limited time events. I'm not going to go too much into this because I'm still salty about Arphis, but I will link my Arphis video below. Pets going to Classic. Just why? I would put all my gold on a bet that 99.99% of the Classic community do not give a single, insert your favorite curse word here, about getting pets. Why are we giving the Classic community pets? I have no words. I have no more words for it. There are no pets worth more than 350 traders tender, and we should not be spending as much or more for one as we would for a mount. Giving pets as a traveler's log reward, pretty much no one likes this. I don't mind, but I 100% recognize that most players do mind. And honestly, it just creates unnecessary hostility toward devs. The pet battle PvP system is still awful, unbalanced, and badly needs an update. I refuse to mince words here because it is, hands down, 10 kinds of terrible on a bad day. The ball was dropped on the Pandaria remix for pets. So many new, returning, and rare rewards for literally every collection aspect of the game except pets. Again, this just felt really bad. Now on to the suggestions. I'm sure this is the section that, if any devs are watching, which isn't likely, will be ignored. We've been told countless times they don't want our suggestions/ideas, so on and so forth. Just tell us how you feel. I can only say something felt bad so many times before it becomes meaningless, and it's my channel, so I can do what I want. Get rid of family-specific stones. The balance for what families we do and do not get makes the family-specific stones feel useless. Just reward all general stones and let people use them on what pets they want. Update Pet Battle PvP. I don't know how many times this needs to be said, but I do go over a whole bunch of suggestions in another video that I'll link below. And if you do balance the abilities, please don't just let some random person do it. I am begging on my knees that you get someone who knows the system and abilities to do the balancing, because the weather buff is the most glaring example of someone just doing random things to make a bad situation worse. For the love of Una, make limited time event, holiday drop, etc. pets cageable. And if you're not going to make them cageable, please make them available during events that are repeatable, or put them on vendors/trading posts as backup. Bring the anniversary pets, all of them, back each year, and throw in the pre-patch pets here too. Put all holiday pets on holiday vendors, and make them cageable. Bring the support a streamer pets to the shop/trading post. Just stop making them impossible to get beyond the event. Again, battle pets are part of an in-game battle system, and some pets are just too freaking good to not have them available to people at least on a once-a-year basis. Okay, a little more positivity moving into the next couple of suggestions. More impactful pets, as in less is more. I already went over it, but I think everyone would appreciate fewer filler pets and more pets that actually mean something. Quest chains, puzzles, small secrets, and in general using pets to help underpin the expansion, story, and world. Profession pets, I have so many ideas here, and if you're interested, I'd be happy to make a video on it. Suffice to say, I think there are some great unique ways to incorporate pets into professions without ending up with a transmute meat to pet type situation. Just as one example, I'd love to see something like the Druid Order Hall feature where you could grow pets, but instead, we use the new sheep/ramoliths and grow things on them like fun little chia pets. It doesn't need to be super complicated, and you can use herbalism mats for different pet mogs. Branch out with the models. Lazy's post already mentioned it, but we have some really awesome models in-game that could easily work as pets but have never been used. I also think incorporating some of the more adult pets, like Lady Feathersworth, for some of the bigger achievements would be a great contrast to the baby models. Speaking of models, please make the collection achievement pets better than an ox reskin with a stinky aura. I am very happy it was changed from the 2K reward, so kudos to that. I just don't want to regret removing the ox for something equally or more snooze-worthy to replace it. Remove the nerf to leveling pets in post-Legion expansions. I've said this so many times before, but just let people level pets the way they want, please. At the end of the day, WoW isn't built on the less than 1% of the player base the company seemingly spends the most time and resources on. It lives and will die on the backs of us filthy casuals that find joy in the game during seasonal downtimes. The lore masters, the goblins, the collectors, the pet battlers, and so much more. Well, that's going to be it for me. I'm sure there are other things rattling around in my brain I could have suggested, but we'll go with those for now. But what do you think? Do you agree with what I've said? If you do, or if you don't, let me know in the comments below. Until next time, I wish you all the best of luck. Thank you for stopping by, and happy battling!